house in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. Now a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with a half-hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree and haul off those old cars. They are just 2 or 3. And then the whole place would be ready, you see. All ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth or wherever you go. Tonight, grand opening. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the Circus Supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em in the ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store in the great McGurk tents. And I don't suppose old Mr. Sneelock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs, he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons and the pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. Welcome. What an opening night, what a night, what a sight. The crowd will crowd in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin with a welcoming toot on the welcoming horn. By the welcoming tooting, apes from the jungles of Jorn were the very best horn-tooting apes of all born, 'cause the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs. And some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. This way, step right in. This way, ladies and gents. When you see what goes on, you'll say no other circus is half the great circus, the Circus McGurkus is. Here on stage, one from the ocean of Ulf, is a sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf, who could stand on one whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on the top of 5 balls, 2 for tennis, 2 for golf. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called From comes this drum-tummin' snoom, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. Doesn't hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum tummy's numb. And you'll see now, meet the foon, the remarkable foon, who sits sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like these are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage somehow, I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and a there's only one circus with wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. The show of all shows, there's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Bigger Barut, the world's sharpest sharpshooter. Look at him shoot through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 birds without making them squirm, and then on through a crab apple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. And now come the spot where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling jot, who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot, also 42 commas, and also 1 dot. That's the kind of Circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my sideshow, a start, a beginning. This way to the Big Ten, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your head will quite likely spin off your shoulders. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and get into your seats in my tent of all tents. My parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock fling-flang his baton, and my organ McGurkus come on, with its hot steaming pipes of gold brass plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumbling din. That is a super stupendous, stu-roarous, and when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Then a fluff-muffled truffle with a ride of a huffle, and the next in line a fine flummox with a shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and a fibble will carry the flummox's tail, while on top of the flummox 3 harp twanging snarp will twang mighty twangs on their 3 snarpered harp, while a bolster blows bloops on a 3-nozzled blueser. A nolster blows floops on a 1-nozzled noozer. And then comes a lion who's partly a trout. Then more stuff for 45 more minutes about. And then, behind them, while everyone stares, come my to and fro marchers, who march in 5 layers. The fro's march on toes, and the toes march on fro's. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous enormance. No former performers performed this performance. This stunt is too grippingly, slippingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent, like greased lightning, through pots full of lots of big stickled bush trees, catch that one, or who will catch whom, or of who will catch which by the what and just where, or just when and just how in which part of the air. What a circus, my circus McGurkus. My workers love work, they say, work us, please work us. We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises, you'd never see half if you had 40 eyes. And now, again Sneelock, brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my pattern life-risking track, while the speedsters I call my colliding collisions race round in swift cars called aberrations conditions. And Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind, he'll be simply delighted. And here, in the contest, a brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champ of all champs, will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly and slap him around. Then I'll slam him down fastly and pin both his shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelock will love it, I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns also are being jumped through by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure trainer Sneelock can train them to do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts when I wheel in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First my whale number 1, with an aim that aims true, spouts a spout that spouts Sneelock to a whale number 2. Then whale number 2 spouts his spout like a gun, and that spout spouts old Sneelock right back to whale 1. And then forwards and backwards, on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelock gets spouted about, just as long as the water they're spouting holds out. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fears, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers, Sir Hawkins, Sir Dawkins, Sir Jocks, and Sir Cheers, clatter into the tent while everyone cheers, stage aroused about joust and their boxing glove spears. And while all this wild ruckusing goes on below, at the top of the tent, look, the star of the show, great daredevil Sneelock, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by 3 super and snipe, on a dingish contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are all turning chalk white, and all biting their fingernails off in their fright, great Sneelock soars up to a terrible height. And then he shakes himself loose. He starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles are like steel. And he plunges down, with his hair still combed neat, 4,692 feet. guys, that was If I Ran the Circus by Dr. Seuss. I hope you enjoyed the video and the book, and I'll see you in the next one.